Welcome everyone to the first edition. There you go, Ian. You're popping the cherry. First edition of Say Hey
It's
Plays.
an honor.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate your service. My name is Jose Bouquett. Alongside me, of course, is Ian Cameron, aka Bobano, the man with the real name. First of all, Ian, people are going to be watching this later, so we'll find out if you're alive or dead. But first, how are you feeling?
Yeah, we got a nasty sore throat and a nagging cough that just won't go away. But at least we found out today at the end of this San Antonio excursion that it ain't COVID, so it's not all bad.
Yeah, that's all that matters. We got through that test.
Yep.
You're coming back home at the right time.
Yep.
And I'm excited for you. But first, before I let you leave the country, I sequestered you so we could talk some baseball for a few. So, and I know you're excited about it. We're going to talk about our favorite division and talk AL East,
Yep.
of course. We're going to do over-unders, win totals for each squad, playoff odds, division, any player props we see, and all that good stuff. So let's get right into it. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready, yeah.
Okay, we'll go from the top down. So obviously we'll start with the Orioles first. 61.5 is their win total right now. I'm getting my numbers from FanDuel, by the way. We learned today our numbers might be a little off, but that's just how the gambling world's to be sometimes. 61.5 over under. Yes to win to make the playoffs. I'm sorry. 25 plus 2,500. I think I got plus 2,500, which is pretty crazy. I got minus 10,000, aka 10-1. Division 20-1 and World Series 50-1 for the Orioles. We won't spend too much time on them. I mentioned on the show earlier today, I like betting on the Orioles early in the season. They haven't had their will beaten out of them yet by the other teams. Cedric Mullins is going to be a great player on this team. He could be a dark horse MVP. Probably not going to win it, but he'll be in the conversation. Like what he's doing. I would lean to a slight over with this Orioles squad. I think they'll get better. But, I'm not going to make anything official. Not going to make the playoffs. No division. Hopefully they'll see some improvement. But I'll go slightly over 61.5.
Yeah, I'm not betting their win total. I might bet this team game to game over the total, which is something I've done a lot the last couple seasons because really to me it's status quo for Baltimore. They are a team that's going to be able to hit a little bit. I mean, when you see some of these players they have in terms of being able to hit, Ryan Mountcastle is a guy that can get it done at the plate. Anthony Santander, same thing. Trey Mancini, Cedric Mullins, who's not only great in center field, but obviously terrific speed, athleticism, but he's got pop in his bat as well. They're going to be able to hit, and that's never been the issue for Baltimore. They can score runs. Problem is that pitching staff is hot garbage, and that's still the same issue for Baltimore this year. You look at it, I kind of like John Means. The lefty showed me he's the one pitcher, and you know this from the Closing Time show last year. He's the one starting pitcher for Baltimore I would bet on, from time to time. But the rest of this starting pitching staff, I mean, Jordan Lyles, retread. Bruce Zimmerman, nothing to write home about. Zach Lowther, not very good. Keegan Aiken, a soft-tossing lefty, not very good. He get really hit hard when he doesn't hit his spots. It's just not a very good starting rotation. When you're playing the Blue Jays, you're playing the Yankees, you're playing the Red Sox in this division, it's going to make mincemeat probably out of this pitching staff. And the bullpen's actually not bad. Salser's not a bad option in the back end of that bullpen for the Orioles, but it's still a little bit light and thin and middle relief. It's just a team that's going to have to score runs and outslug and out-hit and outscore their opponent if they're going to win games this year. So I didn't take any action on any futures or the win total with Baltimore because they're already priced pretty low as it is. But I will be looking at this team as an over team in terms of their game-to-game totals.
Some just quick additions, subtractions. We won't take too long on the Orioles because no one cares. But Matt Harvey gone, Pedro Severini gone, Brooks Kriske gone. They add Chris Owings, former Diamondback. Shout out to him. Jacob Nottingham, former San Antonio Mission, and a guy that got called up and down from the Padres and the Seattle Mariners, I think it was. Ruben Odor and Robinson Chirinos, two Venezuelans, so I appreciate that.
Ruben Odor, the strikeout waiting to happen.
Yeah, he is horrid, but Venezuelan, so shout out to him. Yeah, this is going to be a fun team to bet on early in this season, but when it comes to tank time, they will be going down there. So, all right, let's go with the next team. Like I said, we're not going to spend too much time on the Orioles. A team that I like a lot, the team that's shockingly at 85.5 wins, I believe, last time I checked, the Boston Red Sox, the Red Stockings. They finished tied for first, I believe, last season. I should know this off the top of my head, but I don't right now, but 85.5 wins, minus 110 both ways for the playoffs. It's a little scary for me as a Red Sox fan, but we'll talk about there in a second. Division plus 600 and World Series plus 2,500. Additions and subtractions for these Red Sox. This one might take a little bit because they've been doing their thing. Adam Ottavino gone, Danny Santana gone, Eddie Rodriguez gone, went to the Tigers for a nice deal. Shout out to him. Kyle Schwarber gone to the Phillies. Hunter Renfroe traded to the Brewers. So a lot of parts out, but my man Chaim Bloom, Trevor Story, big acquisition, got his first string training RBI today. Shout out to him. Signed in there, 6-year deal. Michael Wacha, interesting pitcher. Never forget his 2013 World Series against the Red Sox. Rob Refsnyder, who's apparently going to be the fifth outfielder or the fourth outfielder for the Red Sox, which is a spot they will probably upgrade. Derek Holland, Jake Diekman, Matt Strahm, Rich Hill, James Paxton, bunch of arms in there. Great offense. We all know that. We don't know about the pitching, though. Chris Sale out for a little bit right now with the stress fracture in the rib.
Yep.
So, Ian, I'd love to hear from maybe a little more of an unbiased perspective. How do you think of the Red Sox this year?
Oh, hitting won't be an issue. I mean, yeah, that's with JD Martinez even having a decline a little bit last year, and we saw what they were still able to do at the plate. Obviously, Xander Bogaerts and obviously Rafael Devers and what they've got with those two guys. And what if Bobby Dahlbeck becomes a little bit more consistent for the Boston Red Sox? It could make this lineup even more dangerous. No question about that. You got Hernandez as well, Arroyo, and of course, the big acquisition, Trevor Story from the Colorado Rockies. A great fit for Fenway Park. There's no question with his power, his ability to spray the ball all areas of the field. It's a great fit for him to be at Fenway Park. So, yeah, loaded lineup, definitely capable of scoring runs. They should score runs. Their starting pitching staff, it's better than Baltimore's. So you can't compare the two, but there's still some question marks. Nathan Eovaldi, I like him. He had some bumps, but last year he had more good than bad. Nick Pivetta, for a period of time there, he was rolling, my fellow Canadian there. Nick Pivetta, I like what I saw. Now can he do it for a full season? Tanner Houck showed glimpses of being a capable, middle of the rotation starting pitcher. We'll see if he can continue to build on that this year. My concern is the fourth and the fifth spot, at least until Sale gets back. You've got Michael Wacha. That's not a guy I trust, and you're going to bank on 40-plus-year-old Rich Hill. I mean, that's tough right there at the back end of that rotation. So I think the first part of that rotation for Boston's got some capability, but the back end of that rotation is definitely a little bit weaker. What do we make of the bullpen? I think they've got some good arms down there. I think they actually have the makings of a pretty good pen. What do you get from Matt Barnes? It was a tale of two halves of the season for him last year.
Brutal, too. Doesn't even make the playoff roster at
Yep.
the end of the year. Really tough year for him. Was it I wouldn't say unexplicable because he had a great first half, but, closer for the All-Star team. And it's just crazy to see that he falls off. He spoke about his struggles. I expect him to be better, obviously, but, you never know with relievers. They're crazy group of guys are the goalies of baseball, especially the closers. So I think that there's enough arms in there to hopefully supplement if Matt Barnes does decide to be bad. Jake Diekman's good. Garrett Whitlock, he can bounce back and forth between the rotation and starting right now. Or for bullpen, I think they're going to have him in the bullpen to start off right now. He might end up being a closer. Who knows? But you're right about Rich Hill and Michael Wacha. Those are the two big question marks. But James Paxton, like we said, hurt. Hopefully comes back soonish. I don't know when exactly, but they signed him 60-day IL so far. And then Chris Sale injured, but he says he's feeling good. So we'll see. Rich Hill is going to be a bullpen guy for depth. So I'm not going to be too worried there, but I do like this Red Sox team. I like how they're built, and I like the vibe that they've got going into the season right now. I've told you 85.5. I thought that was super low. I think there's going to be around a 90-win team. I wouldn't be surprised if it was low 90s. I take the over. I'm going to I've already made that official. Actually, I've already bet it 85.5. And maybe I'm a homer, but I'm going to take the yes minus 110 for the playoffs too. So I think they will make the playoffs as a wild card team, and it will be a fun year for the Red Sox.
Yeah, I didn't think they were going to be a great team last year, and they ended up exceeding expectations. So I wouldn't be in a rush to step in front of the under, or take the under, I should say, when it comes to the Boston Red Sox. I haven't bet it, but I would lean in that direction as well.
All right, let's move on to the Tampa Bay Rays. the team that everyone's been trying to catch in this division. 89.5 right now, their win total. Rule changes in baseball kind of going against them. We've had a limit for minor league pitcher options, or I should say player options in general, but the Rays do take advantage of the pitchers the most. Now they've only been take them up and down 5 times. So that will affect their bullpen a bit, but to what extent, who knows? Kevin Cash, obviously, I mean, off the top of my head, I'd say probably top 2, maybe best manager in
He's a
baseball.
wizard without a manage his pitchers. Unbelievable.
Yeah, him, and I'd say Bob Melvin probably up there as well as the best managers. Yes to win to, or just say yes to make the playoffs. Minus 210, no, plus 168. Division plus 240, World Series plus 1300. I've bet on the Rays to win the World Series before. I got lucky, like I mentioned earlier today. It was the year that it was the Dodgers Rays, so I had both sides. I was rooting for the Rays, obviously, but they don't have no Glass now this year. Probably he'll be out for most of the year. Obviously, they got a bunch of young fireballers. McClanahan's supposed to be good. Luis Patino is supposed to be good. And then you've kind of got your reclamation projects. This is kind of what they do. I think Ryan Yarbrough is one of the worst starting pitchers in the AL. The Red Sox always get to him. That might be one of the reasons why, but he does have success. Drew Rasmussen, bullpen day. We'll see how those go now. And then Corey Kluber. I mean, who knows? He went to the Yankees last year, didn't fare well. Believe he got injured again.
Yep.
But just not a reliable guy, like you say. So I would definitely say that the rotation's gotten worse, obviously, without Glass now. And like I said, they're not expecting him to be pitching this year. And if he does, it'll be late. So bullpen got a bunch of guys that not many baseball fans will probably know. Shout out to Andrew Kittredge. Who knows if we'll see Nick Anderson again, a name from our past. Pete Fairbanks is really good, crazy eyes, but ultimately it comes down to, how do the arms kind of fit? How does Kevin Cash make everything fit? Because for once, this Rays lineup is fantastic. I really enjoy it. Wander Franco, I mean, dark horse AL MVP probably for me.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously the centerpiece of this team in terms of their young prospects and cornerstone players of this Rays franchise for many years to come. Brandon Lau, very good, capable hitter as well. Their offense actually was very surprisingly good last year, and a lot of people thought that hitting would be. In fact, the last couple of years, a lot of people have thought Tampa Bay wouldn't be great at the plate, and yet they've definitely hit better. They just situational hitting. No one's better than the Tampa Bay Rays. They know how to advance runners. They know you can just get the barrel of the bat on the ball, put it in play, get runners across home plate. That's just that's winning baseball, period. That's exactly what it is. Tampa Bay plays it well. Now with the pitching staff, there are questions like Patino's out to start the year. Shane Baz, another guy that's shown some potential. He's not going to be ready to start the year. So you're putting a lot in the basket of Yarbrough, Rasmussen, Kluber, McClanahan. With a guy like Kluber, though, when he goes to some other teams, maybe you say, oh, man, what are they going to do with this guy? How can they turn him around? But when he goes to a team like Tampa Bay, they just know how to work with pitchers. They do. They're very good at it. Cash is good with it. They have a very good pitching coach as well, who's really done great work with this entire pitching staff. That maybe because Kluber's going to Tampa Bay as opposed to somewhere else, you actually give him a puncher's chance to have a solid season. That's the way I see it. I think when it comes to Corey Kluber, the bullpen is still pretty deep. Fairbanks, Thompson might not be ready to start the year, but Kittredge, Charrois, Brooks Raley, J.P. Fireeisen was pretty good last year. And the bullpen for Tampa Bay as well. They definitely have a depth of arms still in that spot. To me, you bet against Tampa at your own peril. They always get underrated. They always, people just think, when you look at the lineup, other than Franco, there's not a lot that stands out. G-Man Choi, Yandy Diaz, of course, Randy Arozarena came on like a freight train a couple of years ago in the playoffs. Last year was a little bit more hit or miss for him. I think Randy Arozarena definitely is going to have, a little bit of a bounce back year. I think from a prop standpoint, he'll be someone I'll be looking to bet in Tampa games. No, I like Tampa. And I've got them in the futures for the division. I think they're being undersold.
Yeah, and I don't hate that at all. They, like we said, they have the hitting for once. This is one of those teams where you always think they always have the pitching and they never have the hitting, but they finally call up their big dudes. Wander's been in the farm system for a little bit. They call him up. Like I said, I think he could be a dark horse MVP. He's really that good. And Randy Arozarena was everyone's favorite toy. He was Woody,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
right.
Buzz
Yeah,
Lightyear came along, Wander Franco, and now no one wants to play with Randy Arozarena.
yep,
So he's incredible. Let's not forget what he did in the postseason. He propelled them to that World Series run, honestly. And they still got guys like Vidal Brujan and Taylor Walls, who are all really, really good prospects. And the Rays are frisky. You never know what the Rays are doing. Like, for example, the Rays are one of those teams. We can talk about this in the future when we maybe talk AL Central, but I have a hinkling that Carlos Correa might not end the season with the Twins. For example, the Twins go in the tank, and the Rays are crazy enough that they'll offer whatever prospect package. They'll get some prospects in there, and
yep.
they'll take the risk for a Carlos Correa. They'll do that. They're one of the outside the box thinking organizations in baseball. Not many of the teams are, and I really respect the Rays. And if you watch them play every year like I do, you have a fear of them. They always come up and get you. But I would say this: there is a kind of a snake eating himself about this the AL East. The Red Sox beat the Rays beat the Yankees,
Yeah.
and then on given years, the Yankees beat the Red Sox.
Yes.
So it's it's that big snake looping around.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it is this year. Like I said, I'm not
They
very
eat
high
each
on the
other up. They
Yankees.
beat up on each other. Yes.
Yeah, and then the Orioles are just kind of there, just playing with their food, and then
Yeah.
the Blue Jays
And everybody
pop in.
beats up on them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty much. Yep.
So I think it'll be a fun team this year. I would lean slightly to the over on, I think it was 89.5 at FanDuel. I got it at. But I think it'll be interesting. And just quickly for those keeping track at home, some additions and subtractions. Michael Wacha gone, Colin McHugh gone, David Robinson gone, Joey Wendell, someone who was a stalwart for them in the infield and a decent bat off the bench, gone. Chris Archer gone, and another big bat for them gone. Nelson Cruz, and we won't even think about it because their lineup is again this good. Adding Corey Kluber and Brooks Raley, that's not the sexiest things ever, but the Rays are going to be there. The Rays will be there for sure.
I agree.
All right, Yankees time, Ian. The Yankees 9-1.5. Yes to make the playoffs, -355. No, +270. Division +230. World Series +1300. All right, Ian. They've done a lot this offseason. Not typical Yankees stuff, but they've done a lot. They've lost Clint Frazier, Corey Kluber. They traded Luke Voit, Gio Urshela, Gary Sanchez, one of the worst catchers in baseball. They got back Josh Donaldson after some Yankee swap. They took Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Marwin Gonzalez announced 5 seconds after the Trevor Story deal, which tickled me very much. Ryan Weber, and they're even giving Shelby Miller for former first-round pick, I believe, first overall pick. I don't remember exactly, but he got traded for Dansby, so shout out to him. A weird Yankees offseason. I think I'm most confident right now about the Yankees win total under. I was talking to our guy Elio, and he was talking to me about this, and he said, the Yankees obviously probably aren't done. They could go out there and add something. The A's are obviously looking for fire sales. They can get one of those pitchers. It looks like the Yankees are just kind of a manager, maybe a bat and an arm away from being a real contender. Ian, I might be having some rose-colored
Veiled
glasses.
shot at Aaron Boone right there. Yeah.
Well, no, Aaron Boone's the worst manager in baseball. There's no veiled shot. He's horrible. He's one of the worst, and I'm shocked that he still have a job. And I'm glad that one home run has propelled him and got him a job for life, I guess. So shout out to you, Aaron. But Ian, let me know what you think about these Yankees. Am I just too biased? Is over 91.5? I just
at that number,
can't
there's
see
no
it.
way I'm taking over.
Okay.
Do I want to take the under? I'd lean that way. I'm not going to get there with it. I'm certainly not taking them to win the division. So
No
I am
way.
more negative on the Yankees than positive. But I still always leave the door open when you've got Garrett Cole anchoring the rotation. Jordan Montgomery showed you a lot down the stretch last year. What can they get out of Severino whenever he comes back, although it still could be some time? Another Canadian, Jameson Tyle, had some bright moments for them at times last year. And then you've got Nestor Cortez and Michael King rounding out the rotation. King is more of a guy that's probably going to be out of the rotation when everybody is healthy and gets back. The bullpen, it's always been one of the strengths for the most part of this team. They got Loizaga back, Chad Green, Aroldis Chapman, the closer, although he can scare the hell out of you in a ninth inning a lot of times, and all that perspiration starts building on his forehead. And it's like, my goodness.
There is no one in baseball that I like to see suffer more than Aroldis Chapman. The pictures, the videos,
That man
the sweat,
sweats. Yeah.
everything. When he just starts struggling, it's just art, and it's just so funny.
No, it is. There's no doubt. It'll be interesting. Josh Donaldson, they bring him in. Is his best days behind him? Like, we're talking about a guy that's well into his 30s now.
Yeah,
you do have to keep that in mind. Is it that before his the best before date? Or has it gone past that for him here with the Yankees? That's a concern. Stanton, I thought sometimes he's going through this red hot stretch, and then the next time he can't buy a hit. Aaron Judge, obviously still here with this lineup. Gallo is more of a swing and miss guy. I don't know why they got Gallo. To be quite honest with you.
Same player.
At the deadline. I don't think last year, I don't think that was necessary. I do like that they brought back Rizzo. That guy will give you, a professional at bat. Gleyber Torres showed you a lot. Yeah, I agree with that. So really it's going to hinge to me upon more than anything, the bullpen remaining at a high level, and what can they get from this starting pitching staff outside of Garrett Cole. Who even Garrett Cole last year had some bumps in the road. There were games where he's given up 6 runs. It's like, what's wrong with Garrett Cole?
And I think we can obviously say that was partly due to him trying to adjust to not having sticky stuff. I mean, he was the poster boy of the sticky, whatever we're calling
Spider tack.
Yep. The spider tack situation last year. He was a poster boy of it. They're going to crack down this year. I mentioned earlier, I'm going to bet against him opening day, and I'm going to make these older pitchers that you can kind of guess and assume that have used it and used it for a while. I'm going to let them prove that they can use it or they don't need it again. I'm going to let Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, those guys prove to me that they're good pitchers without it, and I'll take my chances, and you'll get good money, plus money against them, obviously. Like, I'm expecting with the Red Sox, it's Evaldi versus Cole. I'm probably going to guess that they're plus 150, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I'll take my chances with the Red Sox team that can, has had success against Garrett Cole, and we'll see what happens there, but we don't have to talk about individual games. I'm looking at the Yankees lineup right now, and it's weird. DJ LeMahieu, not even starting anymore.
Yep.
DJ LeMahieu, one of the higher paid guys in the Yankees, not starting anymore. On the bench now. Anthony Rizzo brought in, good vibes. They needed him, like we said. They really needed someone like that. Their catching spot, I can't even. Ben Rodford, I don't even.
Well, I don't mind Kyle Higashioka, but is he an everyday catcher in a 162 game MLB season? I'm not sure about that.
Yeah,
I know Sanchez was horrible, but
is
Higashioka ready to be 162 game everyday catcher? I don't know.
Yeah, I think Higashioka looked decent just in comparison to Gary Sanchez, if we're just going to be honest. Gary Sanchez did everything so wrong. He struck out, not a good defensive catcher. That, Higashioka looked pretty good compared to him. And now we'll see. I mean, Yankees farm system's, I think, 9th best in baseball, too. So they have some guys coming up. I personally don't believe in the pitching either. I'm not sold on the pitching staff. Garrett Cole, sure. Luis Severino, like you said, he's supposed to be their number 2, but hasn't pitched in like 2 years. Jordan Montgomery, hit or miss. I kind of have a fear of Jordan Montgomery, but it seems like every time he goes up there, he's giving up at least 3. Nestor Cortez, sure. And like we said, Chapman's not very good, and the rest of the bullpen doesn't scare me. So we'll see what they can do. I'm not worried about the Yankees right now, but we could look at our phones 2 seconds from now and look and see, the Yankees just traded for Jose Ramirez and Shane Bieber in the same package for 2 pennies, because that's what the Yankees do.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Steinbrenner's with the selling and not buying at the deadline. That's usually not in their DNA. Yeah.
Yeah, so we will see the Yankees. They'll make some moves, but for now, let's all continue to make fun of Yankees fans and the struggles that they're having, because it's quite funny. All right, last team, Ian, your team, the team that I kind of brought you in here to talk about, the Toronto Blue Jays. I don't know if people know this about you. They might not be able to tell by the way you look, but you are Canadian.
That's right.
You are Canadian. How far are you from Toronto?
About an hour west.
Okay, So there you go. So you probably frequent these games. You know this squad.
Usually a couple games a year at least.
Yep. All right. So we've got a win total right now of 92.5 to make the playoffs. Yes, minus 355. No, plus 270. Division plus 175. The favorite, obviously. World Series plus 950. come up for the Blue Jays. It's been I think it's been like 3 years now. Vladdy, Bo, and all those boys, 3-4 years. Um, they're all here. This is their prime. This is when the Blue Jays want to win. George Springer added. He was hurt last year. I think he comes back and he figures it out. Everyone first year in a new place, all weird or whatnot. But I think comes in there. Especially because I think his actual first year was the COVID year. But I think we can just write that off. But I'm gonna lean slightly under with this Blue Jays team because I think it's just a hard division, but I don't feel comfortable about it. The bullpen question marks. Jordan Romano. If you are a casual baseball fan, you'll know him as the pitcher that goes into a full squat when he pitches. He's very nice. Adam Simber, I like, sidearm guy that wears shorts basically on the mound. If we can just figure out that bullpen, I think I would be much more, sold on this Blue Jay squad. But pitching got worse worse this year. I think, you lose a Cy Young winner, you replace him with Kevin Gausman, who, good pitcher, but I wouldn't call him, a top 10, 15 pitcher. Jose Barrios, I've always had question marks. Ryu, I don't even know about Ryu anymore. He seems to always have a good year, but in the playoffs or when you need him most, you never feel comfortable with him. And then Manoah, Pearson, and Kikuchi are all three pitchers that I really don't know what we're going to get from this year. You want good things from Manoah. I like Manoah. I love his personality, but young pitcher, who knows? Pearson hurt all year last year. And then Kikuchi, new setting, new division. I think being the number one or number two on the Seattle Mariners, maybe that gives you a little more intimidation factor, but being the number 4 or 5 on the Blue Jays in this division, no one's going to be afraid of him. So I don't know what's going to happen there. What are your thoughts, Ian, on the Blue Jays?
Yeah, very high expectations for this group. They expect this year for them not just to be a playoff team, but maybe get there and do damage as well. I did take them to win the division. Toronto and Tampa were the two teams I took to win the AL East. Toronto was plus 165, Tampa plus 270. I think they can do it. I do. There are questions with the bullpen. There are. Romano was excellent as a closer, no question, last year. But outside of that, Simber was pretty good. Richards was decent. Tim Mays is a good situational lefty. He proved to be pretty good for them last year. The X factor is Julian Merriweather. The guy's got electric stuff. He can't stay healthy, though. He's had one injury setback after another, but the times he's been in there, I remember him closing a game at Yankee Stadium early in the season, either last year or 2 years ago, and he was mowing them down. He has terrific stuff, but can he get back to that level, and can he stay healthy? If he does, it's going to transform the Blue Jay bullpen without a doubt. So keep an eye on that. Obviously, you don't even need to say more than you need to about the lineup.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous, an embarrassment of riches right now with what they've got there. George Springer, Teoscar Hernandez, Vlad Guerrero Jr., you go on down the list. Matt Chapman comes over from the Oakland Athletics, really solidifies. They were petrified. What were they going to do at third base? It was a weak spot for the Blue Jays last year, the third base position, but they've solidified that now with Chapman. Bo Bichette, yeah, he made some errors last year, but he'll keep getting better, I think, and with time. It's not easy to transition to being a shortstop. Tough position to defend every day, but he's going to continue to improve in that regard. Biggio, Vlad, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who's probably going to end up having a better career than his older brother, Yuli. I think there's actually a greater ceiling for him. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Springer, and Teoscar in the outfield. And then, of course, the pitching staff. Like you could say they lose Robbie Ray, a Cy Young winner, but that's the first year we've seen Robbie Ray do anything in his career. Was it a product of him finding it, or was it the Blue Jays' terrific pitching coach? And I think he is terrific, Pete Walker.
That's why he's still on the staff.
That's right.
If he was not a good manager or coach, he would have been already fired a while ago. Well, I wouldn't say a while ago. Just came out with the DUI.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, it's still on the staff. So shout out to that guy for job security, I guess.
That's why I'm fascinated more than anything this year to see how Robbie Ray does this year. Is he really found it? Is he going to deliver at a high level again, or was that just a one-year wonder sort of thing? You could say the same about Gausman, though. It was obviously a terrific season for him, but it's been a lot of mediocrity from him before last year. Barrios, I think, is going to be a very solid number 2. Ryu has to be better. There's no question. The second half of the season last year was not good. I'm not worried about Manoah. The kid's a bulldog. You see it. He cares about winning. He's got the passion. He's got the unbelievable competitive spirit out on the mound. He's got good stuff. Alek Manoah will be fine. And, I said it on a recent Betting with the Bag show about Yusei Kikuchi. I think he is crafty enough that even as a soft tossing lefty, he can still have some success here in the AL East. Look, it's not an easy lineup to pitch when you don't throw hard, and not an easy division to pitch in when you're pitching in Rogers Center, Camden Yards, Fenway Park, Yankee Stadium. These aren't easy ballparks to navigate when you don't throw hard and you're not throwing high 90s and miles per hour. But he's crafty enough that I think he can still maneuver his way through opposing lineups and get outs. The importance for him is hitting the spots, hitting his location, and making sure if he does that, I think he can still have some success. Yeah, you worry, the fact that, again, that he doesn't throw hard. Is it going to come back to bite him? And it could. Way more here than obviously in the AL West with Seattle. But I think he's crafty enough where he can pitch well. And the nice thing about picking up Kikuchi is it's filled out now your starting pitching staff. And now Ross Stripling can be a bullpen arm for you and a long reliever for you, which is important because, look, he, as a starter last year, was just too much disappointment from Ross Stripling. So, no, I like what I see from the Blue Jays. They've kept progressing year after year. I think they take another step this year, and I think it could very well be a step that has them as AL East champions.
Yeah, no, I think these are my AL East champions as well. Plus 170, not enough to get me to bet it. And by the way, it's kind of funny looking at their addition subtractions here. They lose Steven Matz, a pretty good pitcher in himself. Kirby Yates, who used to be a seasonal save leader. They lose Simeon.
Yeah, the Jays are like, see ya, Kirby. We hardly knew you.
Yeah, they lose Simeon, who top 5 MVP candidate last year. Great. David Phelps and Robbie Ray. The lineup hasn't taken a beat. Better than last year, obviously. And we'll see about the pitching staff. Like I said, I think definitely that it will take a step back, but we'll see how good your coach is this year, especially with Robbie Ray. It was funny because you see the adjustments. Like some of the adjustments were like, "Hey, Robbie, just go to this side of the mound," and then he just magically just started going for him. And I think it's interesting. And by the way, you were right about our man Hyunjin Ryu. Looking at his ERAs per month, 2.6 in March and April, 2.6 in May. He has a little hiccup in June of 4.8, a great month in July at 2.73, and then from August to September, October 6.21 and a 7.87 in September and October.
No,
so
not good.
It's gonna have to be maybe Montoya's still the manager, right?
Charlie Montoyo, yeah.
So, yeah,
polarizing managers. So, it's one of those things where
Yeah.
Blue Jay fans don't think he's great in terms of in-game managing, pitching changes, that kind of thing, setting up the lineup. But he's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and so that's why it's so challenging for Jays fans because they don't think he's a great manager, but he's a hell of a nice guy.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I think he's gonna have to reuse wisely here, some innings limits, and start taking care of the arm a little bit.
Yeah.
So, all right, Ian, let's kind of go over here. Let's wrap it up.
The players do like him, by the way, Charlie
Of course,
Montoyo.
yeah, I mean,
There's a good rapport going. Players with their manager,
Great guy,
with that team. Yep.
So I'll give you all the bets that I like in this division, and if you have any player props, like any MVP Cy Youngs out of this division, please let me know. I don't. No one stuck out off the top of my head. I don't have Garrett Cole to win the Cy Young. I think that'd be a little bit too obvious. And I don't think the odds are that great to begin with. Vladdy already won MVP, not going to win it back-to-back years, I think. And then Bo Jamie the Bag, I mentioned him 22-1, I think 21-1. It's a good number, but I will say this: those numbers are high for a reason. One guy is the guy that wins it, and if you have that 2,100 in your pocket, it doesn't matter if Ohtani goes and hits another 35 home runs, throws another, let's say, 3 ERA and gets another one. So, I don't have anyone here realistically, but I am going to take. Well, I guess I'm still thinking about this one. I might be persuaded here in a second, but for sure, I'm going to take the Yankees under 91.5. I'm going to also take the Yankees not to make the playoffs at plus 270. I think that's a ridiculous price for a team that arguably fourth in the division.
Yep.
You could make that case. I don't think their team is very good. So plus 270. I'm taking the Red Sox over 85.5 and yes to make the playoffs. And I'm taking the Orioles over 61.5. And as I said earlier in the show, I'm going to be betting the Orioles early on in the season. Good teams, or I should say bad teams, still have that fight in them early. So, and the Orioles give to these AL East teams trouble. So give me all those things. And I was thinking about the Blue Jays team total or under 92.5. But I think I'm just going to leave off. That team is just so explosive. And they're one trade away from the bullpen or two, and they'll be a juggernaut.
Yeah, in terms of this division, I came close to betting over with Boston. That's about it as far as I'm concerned. And the same with Toronto, but I felt look, the betting markets are paying respect to Toronto. There's no doubt.
Yeah,
you're not getting great line value with them right now. I did bet Toronto though to win the division, and I bet Tampa Bay to win the AL East. And as far as MVP for American League out of the AL East, I did take Vlad plus 375. And I also have a couple flyers on Rafael Devers, plus 2,000 for Boston, and Wander Franco, plus 2,200 for Tampa Bay. I thought for those prices being offered, I expect better seasons from both of those teams than maybe some people think. I thought they were good value out of the AL East for AL MVP.
That's I forgot that I mentioned our boy Wando here. Yeah, I like that too. I like that a lot too. Like I said, I think he's got it, He's got that it factor that you need to win MVP. It's for example, Mike Trout. If Mike Trout wasn't as elite good as he is, he wouldn't be winning MVPs because there's nothing really, sexy, awesome to watch about Mike Trout. He always does the job, he always does his thing. So I like that. And I think, Wander's exuberance will help him a lot. And I'm looking at some other things, by the way. You get the leader right now, Vladimir Guerrero, plus 700 for home run leader. It's going to be a fun year. And by the way, over under 43.5 for Vladimir Guerrero for home runs. That's a high number, but it's scary to bet the under on that.
It's over a pass for me because I honestly think he could approach 50. Really, I think he could.
Man. All right. Well, this has been fun, Ian. This has been fun. I appreciate you joining
ready
me.
for play ball in a week from now. Yep.
It's going to be great. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for popping my cherry on the first Say Hey plays with all these futures. It's going to be fun. We will be back soon. Hopefully the NL East is next. But we'll see. I'll be back with more futures. I've got some guests lined up. It's going to be fun. Connor Mack may make an appearance. It's going to be a good time, Ian. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, Jose.
Hopefully I don't get COVID.
It'll be a great baseball season. Yeah.
Actually, I know I'm not going to get COVID now because you took that test and you're negative.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ian. And we will catch you guys next time. See ya.